So they have to put 10 feet of dirt over the top of it?
It was EPA's what they call a RCRA cap, regulation cap, a Resource Conservation and Recovery Act cap, which includes 50 milliliter thick plastic. So we had to consolidate it all from the edges and away from the creek, and then put the soil on top for a barrier, and then the plastic on top of that, then more soil on top of that, and then more topsoil and grass seed on top of that, and a fence around it.
So did you do any digging originally? Because there happens to be a dump right there too.
Right.
Over there was a dump from like 1915 to 1925.
Yeah.
And people dig antique bottles over there.
Right.
I was wondering if you found any bottles over there.
Yeah, we found some bottles. Yeah, I got some. I got a Coca-Cola bottle made in the Anniston bottling company. Yeah. Yeah, I got a few others too.
So did you find hundreds of them and just kept a few of them? Or?
No, just a lot of broken ones, obviously, but just a few that were in good shape. I think I got maybe half a dozen. That's about it.
Okay. I heard about this plant that has cancer-causing chemicals, and I don't even know where it is. I just imagine it being half a mile up the road.
Yeah, that's where it came from. Yeah, Monsanto, that chemical plant up there.
So a lot of people got cancer from that.
Yeah, and there was one of the biggest lawsuits in history. The people around here got a settlement for $700 million.
700 million.
Yeah.
So that's like more than $1 million per person.
No. Yeah, that was 15 years ago, and most people around here, the way they talk about it is Johnny Cochran took half of it.
So is the ground contaminated all the way out here too, you think? Or slightly contaminated?
No, EPA went through in the last 15 years. EPA cleaned up most of it, and they hauled it off. And what was left was these auto fluff dumps, because that's real low level. It was just what's left from shredding cars, so it was just lead from the paint and the fuel and PCBs, presumably a little bit of residual PCBs from the electronics. But it wasn't the nastiest stuff. But this here Snow Creek that goes under 10th Street right there, that's still got a lot of contaminated sediment in it, and that's what's next. They're working on that now. Last time I was here, the people were sampling it, and doing a delineation of how much sediment they're going to remove. So that's coming up.
So you haven't heard anything about this piece of land, have you?
I don't know anything about that. No, I know it's a bunch of trash. Now, we found a bunch of trash over here too, bricks and everything, and it really was because of those foundries right there. And in fact, this property here was a hole in the ground because it was a mine. They mined iron-rich clay out of it, and then put it across the street on a bridge, on a railroad track. You can see it in an old, before aerial photos, but an old 1880 something drawing, a rendering that's in City Hall, that you could see where they would take the clay over here, put it over there, they would melt the mud off of it, and then smelt out the clay somehow and make what they called soil pipes, which is essentially terracotta, And when they did that, all the leftover, the slag and everything, they had to dispose. So that's what they did. That's probably what you're seeing there, is a dump of slag from that plant as well as the bottling company. Now, back in the day, if there was a hole in the ground, you could fill it up with whatever you had, and get something out of it.
Yeah, well, this is the official city landfill, I'm pretty sure, because there's probably 35,000 bottles dumped in here.
Yeah.
And that's primarily what there is.
Right. Well, I found the 10th Street, because you see that we worked right up to where those fellas are standing. It was all slag and brick. So a lot of these roads were made and founded in shit from the foundries. Yeah. You work for the Anniston Star?
No, I'm a bottle digger.
Oh, I see.
I've been digging this dump. There's actually a famous video on YouTube of this guy digging here with a backhoe in this dump. And he had a bunch of guys with him. And they dug a hole about 25 feet long and about 8 feet deep. And they found a lot of bottles, but nothing really great. Well, he found a couple jugs that were marked with Anniston from about 1910 or 11. Those were the prizes.
Oh yeah. So do you get? Are you hunting for fun, or you sell them? Selling them at the flea market or something?
Well, I would like to say they're sellable, but I have 34,000 bottles at home in my collection because I've been digging for 35 years, and bottles are very hard to sell. Only the top 1% are easy to sell.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to want the rarest of the rare.
Yeah.
And those are very
What's
rare.
that? The Anniston Coca-Cola, or what?
Well, it depends. There's a lot of different variations to the Anniston Coca-Cola bottle. There's one that's a blob top, also known as a Hutchison, which I've never even seen one. It's very plain looking, but it has a short neck and a fat top on it from about 1905.
Yeah.
And then there's the straight-sided Cokes, a couple of variations of those from about 1910 to 1916, and then they come out with the hobble skirt Coke bottles, which is the famous design. It's still in use today. It started around 1917. Is that the kind you got?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured so.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, I got some kind of sickness from digging here. I got some kind of illness with my lungs.
Yeah.
I started coughing so badly that I said to myself, if I even make it through the night, I'm going to the emergency room in the morning because it was that bad. It lasted about 20 days.
Oh wow. Yeah, you never know what you're gonna find digging holes in the ground in an old 100-year-old city. You know, it shouldn't be this PCB stuff, but you know, it's. Did you find that black sand? The sand. It looks like sand that's black and it's kind of crunchy. Did you come across that stuff? That there would be foundry sand, and it's going to have a high lead content. And lead's poison.
So,
No. I don't know what else you'd find. I mean, the PCBs, you know, the original is oil and grease, so it's pretty much all degraded. If you find some really black staining, you want to stay away from that. But I don't know what else would affect your lungs, really.
well, I read up on it, and there's some kind of natural thing in the soil in certain parts of the country, and this happens to be one of the most likely places to get it.
Oh, some kind of mold or fungus.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember the details because it's been about 5 or 6 years, but
Yeah. Yeah, don't breathe the dust. You never know.
yeah, nowadays it's hard to even get a 3M dust mask.
Is that right?
I used to use them when I was digging here 5 years ago, but now they all got taken up by the COVID situation.
Yeah.
Or if you can even find them, they charge so much for them now.
Right. The good ones at Home Depot. Yeah. I gotta get to work.
Okay, thanks.
Good luck.
That's what it looks like right now because they're doing this project.